All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to today's video. In today's video, we're going to be taking this tree and really stepping it up. I've seen a lot of people out there making really cool light boxes and doing really cool things with those and making some really cool designs. So I thought, let's take that to the next level and let's actually 3D print a string of lights for my tree with some really cool ornaments that I made in Fusion 360. So in today's video, I'll go over all the things that you'll need to make the cool little light boxes, how to put the little light boxes together. We'll make a string of them and put it all together on the tree. And I'll show you how easy it is to make the light boxes in Fusion 360. So if all that sounds good, then sit back and relax and I'll get everything ready. All right, so let's go over some of the items that we'll need for this project. And I'm going to start with an optional one. If you're just doing one of these light boxes or just looking for a real easy way to set up these light boxes, I'll leave a link in the description here. But there's 3 of these short strings of light. The little thing that you control it with, and you plug it into just a USB power supply, and then it even comes with a little remote, and there's 3 of them that come in here. So if you're doing the single boxes of stuff, this is a pretty good inexpensive way to do 3 of those boxes and have everything ready to go. You can't control it with your phone or anything like that, but that is a real inexpensive way to do 3 of the light boxes. But we want to do a whole string of lights here, so we need a larger string of lights, something to control it with, and then a way to give it power as well. So let's go over the items that we'll need for that. So the first is going to be the lights that you'll need here, and these are the lights that I'll be using, which are WS2812B LED strip from BTF Lighting, and I believe this strip has 300 lights on it, and I do have 2 packages of these strips here. And this is what they look like opened up, and the thing to notice about this light strip here is the distance between each of the LEDs. Some of the cheaper ones, like this one, you'll notice that the distance between the LEDs is very different between those. So that's why I use the BTF lighting, is just the distance between the LEDs there. These are very inexpensive, the strip that I showed before, but do keep in mind that the distance between the lights is pretty far. And that's what gives you a really good glow, is having the LEDs very close together. So these BTF lighting LED strips, the WS2812B, which is what these are really good. All right, next we need to power it. And this adapter, I'll leave a link for it in the description as well. I'll leave a link for all of this stuff in there. The important thing here is this needs to be 5 volts. I can confirm if you run a 12-volt power supply through this, it will burn up these LEDs. I can confirm that because I did do that. So make sure you buy the right one, and I'll leave a link in the description for the right one. All right, next on the list is a way to control all of the lights, and this magic controller from BTF Lighting is pretty inexpensive as well, and you can connect it via Bluetooth on your phone. I'll show you how to do that later, but this particular one's pretty inexpensive. It will control 4 connector lights. The set that we're using is only 3 connectors, so I'll show how to connect this as well. But this is a pretty good one. And the power supply that I showed plugs directly into this, so you don't even need to wire the power into it. You just plug that in and you're ready to go. So this is what we'll use to control our lights. All right, next on the list, to string all the lights together, we need some 3 conductor wire here. So I got a good roll of this 3 conductor wire that we can use for that. On top of the wire, we will need a way to connect to the LED strips. And you can, if you want to, solder all of this stuff and use a soldering iron and do all of that. But this little pack of connectors right here, there's 20 of them in there, and at the time of purchase this was $10. It has a side on it. Let's see if we can get it to focus. So you'll see that one side has 3 little slots for those 3 conductors, and then you just snap these down, and one side goes on the LED strip, and that's what they're meant for, and then one side has the 3 little holes in it that these fit in very easily, and then you just snap these down, and that makes the connections really, really easy. So like I said, you can solder all of this stuff, but I would highly recommend, if you're going to do a string of lights like we are, to get these little connectors. Makes the job much, much, much easier. So get you a couple of packs of these. It is good to have a really good wire stripping tool for anything electronic, or for wires or anything like that. Always look for Klein tools. These are probably the best DIY grade, or home improvement guy grade. But make sure you have a really good set of wire strippers here. And again, Klein Tools makes really, really good tools, especially for electricity and electronic stuff. All right, next on the list, we'll need a glue gun. The LED strips do have an adhesive on the back, but it doesn't work very well, and it can peel up after a while. So we'll use this Gorilla Glue hot glue gun with the sticks, and use that to secure everything down, as well as some of the lids and everything like that. This will come in handy to put things together. All right, and that concludes all the stuff that we'll need. And again, all the links for this are in the description. Now let's go jump into Fusion 360 and start making some lights. All right, so here we are in Fusion 360. And I did a search for a Christmas light outline. And this is the image that I found that I thought looked really, really cool. And if you can start with an image that has an outline here, it does make this a little bit easier, and it saves you one step. There's several videos out here on how to make the light boxes. This is how I make, or how I'm going to make them for this video, and you can watch along. So I'm going to double click on the outside line there and hit O for offset. And for this first one, we'll do a 2mm offset, and we'll hit OK, and you'll see that there's a little bit of a jagged line right here. And let's go ahead and fix that. We'll hit the little squiggly line there and draw a straight line, and you'll see those little boxes come up. That means that it's in there. I'm going to hit enter right here, and then I'm going to grab this handle and put the curve in it. And just get it kind of as close as you can. And we'll probably have to do this one more time whenever we do this offset one more time. So now starting again on this one, we'll click on that and we'll hit O for offset. And this time we'll need to go out to 3.5. And same thing, we'll have the little jagged edge right here. Let's click on that, hit delete, click on this one, hit delete. Put this dot back in the right spot, grab this one, hit enter. And just try to get it as close as you can right there. And what you'll want is 3 separate sections. So you see when I highlight this, that whole ring, and that whole ring goes in there. So once we have all of that, then we know we're good to go. We can hit finish sketch. So now that we have all 3 of our offsets, or our 2 offsets that we added with the line right here, now we can make the back plate. So what we'll want to do with that is highlight everything, hit extrude, and we can actually make our back plate away from this top plate on this first extrusion right here. And how we'll do that is we'll change where to start the extrusion. So we'll change that to an offset of -20. I like my boxes to be, for this project, 20 millimeters. So we'll offset that back plate by 20 millimeters. And the thickness of that back plate will be 2. So that's where our extrusion of 2 millimeters will be. And we'll want to make sure that we make this a new component. And we'll hit OK. We'll see that our drawing goes away, but we'll see that we have that back plate and it's 20 millimeters off of the plane. So now we need to make the lip that goes from here up to that top plane. So how we'll do that is we'll rotate this back, we'll bring our sketch back, and then we'll select that outer ring and hit E on our keyboard for extrude again, rotate the model, and then click on this back plate. And you'll see that it makes that lip on the back plate. And that's the easiest way to do that. And we do want to join it on this one. And then we'll hit OK. All right, and we'll see that it made that. Let's realign everything here. And now the back plate is almost done. Let's hide our sketch right here. And what we're going to want to do here is create a hole for us to run the wires and everything through. So we'll go ahead and create a new sketch, and we'll come right around in the top here somewhere, and we'll want to go over, 30 or so millimeters and about 10 millimeters wide or 12 millimeters wide, somewhere in there, make a good size hole there. So we'll do 32, and I'm just going to hit tab, and we'll do 12 millimeters there. Then I'm going to hit enter on my keyboard. That's going to make that sketch. I'm going to highlight that sketch and hit the extrude again. And this time we'll want to extrude -2, and that'll make a cut. We'll hit OK, and that puts a hole in the back for us to run the wires through. Okay. And now that we're done with that, we can go over here to where it says component, and we can actually name that the back. Okay. So now let's bring our sketch back, but we'll hide the back plate. And now let's work on making the top plate. So I like all of the outline here and this to all be black. But we do need to make a lip in the middle right here to ride along the lip from the back plate there. So let's go ahead and highlight this one, hit extrude, and all of these extrusions will be negative and we'll be moving away from ourselves here. And this one will need to be the longest one, and this one we'll do at -3 millimeters. Okay, and again, we're going to want to make this a new component and hit OK. And we'll see now that we have that lip that will fit on the inside of our back plate there. Okay, so let's get this orientated again. So now let's make the rest of our outline, and we'll click on this outline here, this piece here, and this piece, because we basically want those all to be the same color and all kind of connected to each other so that we can color these pretty easily in the future. So color this, think about how you're going to color this object as you're making these different pieces here, because each color will want to separate into a component, or into a new piece like we did for the back. So for these, we don't want a lot of light to shine through these, so these need to be a little bit thicker than everything else. So these will extrude to -1 millimeter. So I'm going to hit E on my keyboard. I'm going to go over here, -1 millimeter, and here we are going to want to join with the other outlines there and hit OK. And now that we have that whole piece, we can name that the outline. Or if you wanted to name it the color that you want to use or whatever, then you could name it black or white or whatever color that you wanted to use there. So we'll go ahead and hit enter on there, and we'll see that we have the two pieces there. Then the last two things that we need to do is make, the color here to shine through for the light, and then the little light socket there. So we can click in this blank area here, hit extrude. In this one, we'll want to do -0.6. So we only want it to be 0.6 millimeters so the light can shine through. And here we're going to want to make a new component and hit OK. And now when we spin it around, you'll see that this isn't quite as thick as everything else, and that's good. We kind of want to make it thinner so that the light shines through. Okay, so the last thing that we'll do is hit the light socket up here, hit extrude. This one, we don't want very much light to go through, so we'll make that one -1 like the rest of them. But we may want to make this a different color, so we don't want to join it. We want to make it a new component. And then we'll hit OK. So now let's name our components. This one was the color, right? The color of the light. And then this one is the socket, or whatever you want to call it. All right, so just name those so that you have all of those in the future. So now we'll see that everything is on there. We can hide our sketch and we'll still see that everything is like that. We'll bring the back into play. We'll see that everything's in there. Our lip fits around there. So in essence, we've made our first little light. And honestly, it's that easy. So you'll see where we want the outline of kind of the object that we have, and then we need the piece for the lip and all of that. But you'll see that we made that, and everything will fit together and snap together real nice. And we made a hole in the back for all of the wires and everything. So that's the real easy way to make a very simple light box here to make our 3D Christmas light set. So now that we have this created, let's go ahead and save it. And we'll save it into our YouTube folder. And we'll call this the 3D Xmas light. And we'll save that. And now, in order to export it to Bambu to get it printing, let's, instead of hitting the 3D print like you see me hit before, let's hit the export button, and we'll keep it the same name. But what we want to do here is change this to a step file. Okay, so let's save it as a step file, or export it as a step file, and choose the location for that file to be saved. So I'll do that, and I'll meet you when I get that done. All right, so you'll see that I saved it to my desktop right here, and we'll see that we have this step file that's associated with Bambu already. So we'll go ahead and double click this to open it up in Bambu Studio. All right, now that we have it open in Bambu Studio, we'll need to do a couple of things here. And the first one is, let's go ahead and hit Control-C to copy this object, and then hit Control-V for paste. And now we have two of these objects. So go over here to the object, and basically we want one of these to be the top and one of these to be the bottom or the back plate. So we need to delete the other three from one to make it the back, and then delete the back from the other one to make it, just the top or the other three here. So let's go ahead and start with this one, and we'll go ahead and delete these three things. So we're just left with the back plate there. Then we'll select this object and just delete the back plate. And for this one, we'll want to flip it over on its face. All right, so we'll just hit flip on face, and we'll click on that front face there. and you'll see that now it's facing downwards like so. Okay, so now I like the back piece to be black, so we'll change that to black, and now we can just go in here and color these. So I like the outline to be black. We'll change this first color to blue, and then the socket will be that gray color. So now you'll see that we have the light here and everything ready to go so that we can print it. And then I was able to get 2 of these. In each print pretty easily. Okay. So I will save this whole setup into Maker World just like this for Bambu Studio and everything, as well as that step file, as well as all of the other ones that we do. So we'll go ahead and slice the plate so you can see how long this takes to print, and it's about an hour and 45 minutes. So we'll go ahead and get a couple of colors of these printed, and I'll meet you back in Fusion 360 to look at a couple of other lights that I made. All right, so while that one is printing, let's look at a couple of these other ones that I made, and it really didn't take me that long to make all of these. And the trick that I used is I just searched for Christmas light outline, and all of these other ones that you'll see, I did a search for that and an outline and found, some SVG or some, images that I could easily convert to an SVG to bring in here to do this. So it wasn't that hard at all. And as a matter of fact, I really was able to get this done very easily. And even with the star here, and this is where I was saying before, what parts do you want? White, gold, and black. So if you're thinking about the colors that you want, you can go ahead and do that. And all of these are ready to go. You'll see all the stuff that needs to be white, gold, and black is there. And the other thing that you'll see here too is on some of these, I've put 2 holes in the back here, even with the, hey, this looks like the Carl's Jr. thing. Even with the thing for the wires. And what this is for is to run a zip tie around it, because if this is the star that you want, like on the top of your tree, you may need to zip tie it up there for it to stay put. So on some of these, I put 2 little holes in the back, 5 or 6 millimeters, in order to run a zip tie through so that you could tie it down, or a little wire or something like that. So I made a cool little star one here. So if you wanted to put that on the top, or as one of the things there, a cool little ornament. And again, as you can see, I made all these little different things, the ornament outline. So that's all one color. Then the dots are all one color. Then the top is a color, the dot background, the line background, bottom color, and the ornament top are all different colors there. Right. So, that's why I said, as you're extruding these out, keep in mind which ones you want light to pass through, which ones you don't want light to pass through. But then think about how you're going to color it too, and how you might want to group some of those things or not group some of those things to make it easier to color once you're in Studio. And then even here, for each light, you can have a different color in there. And that took a little bit of time to do, but it wasn't that much time to do. And again, all I searched for was a tree outline, Christmas tree outline, and I got this shape and was able to do all of that. And same thing, right? You might need these to attach it to something, and a place to run the wires in the back. Then, same thing with the angel for the top, same thing with the places for the zip tie in the back. And then if you really want a cool star, right, and you even have the Death Star here, and again, the 2 holes in the back. So I'll put all of these up on Maker World for you to do, and I'll load all of these in Bambu Studio and export it that way, so you can just click on import into Studio. So I thought all of these would be cool, and it would make really cool decorations to make our 3D printed Christmas lights for our Christmas tree. So I'll get all of this stuff printed out and loaded onto Maker World, and I'll see you when some of this stuff starts to get done. All right, so since the angel will be at the top, we'll do that one first and then run our wire from that to the very next one, which then plugs into the next strip, which goes around the next light, which then goes to the next wire that goes to the next light, and so on and so forth. So a couple of tricks here. You'll see on the light that there's an arrow. Okay, so our power source is going to be at the bottom, so our arrow needs to point to that last object every time. Otherwise, the lights won't work. Okay, so make sure that you pay attention to that. So you'll see here that I got this ready to go, and I'm going to go ahead and mount this around. I'll peel the little tape off. Be sure that you get this all the way on the bottom so that the lid can close there. So I'll get this wrapped around, and then I'll get this clipped in. I have the other end of the wire on here so we can test it, and every couple of ones, go ahead and test it and make sure that you don't have anything going on. This is what highlighted me to the fact that you need to run these arrows up, because I actually got to the next one and I must have switched the LED strip around, and that caused an issue with me. Issue there. So I stopped everything so I could make a note of that for everybody. But do make sure that you follow the arrow all the way down, so the very last ornament or whatever it happens to be that's on the bottom, right, the power is going to come in and go all the way up here to the top. So make sure that you do that. I'm going to get this one squared away, and I'll meet you when it gets done. And it should fit just in there like so. You'll see that both connectors are at the top where it's blacked out anyway, so it shouldn't be blocking any light. So let's go ahead and plug in the power supply. Let's see if both of them turn on. And we have both of them on. And as you can see, they look really, really cool. All right, so let me get the rest of the lights built here, and if I run into any more tips or tricks along the way, I will let you know. All right, so as you can see, it turned out awesome. These lights look really, really cool. They turned out really awesome, especially the Death Star over here. So I hope you guys like everything in there. All of these prints will be available on Maker's World, or on Maker World, as of the video dropping today. So be sure to go download there and smash the like button there. Be sure to smash the like button on this video. I spent a ton of time. I did design all of these, made all of them in Fusion 360, and printed all of them out for today's video. So be sure to smash that like button, and be sure to smash the subscribe button so you don't miss next week's video. Now, to control these lights, all you got to do is download the little app that comes on the box with the controller, set it up via Bluetooth, and then under the settings, switch over to the WS lights that are in there and tell it how many pixels or how many little LEDs that you have in your string, and you'll be all set up from there. So as you can see, when I add all of my Christmas lights together here, you can see that this really, really spiced up the tree, and it really, really made it look cool. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you enjoyed looking at me decorate my tree, and hopefully it inspires you to decorate yours as well. And I can't wait to see all of the things that you guys do with these lights in the future. So be sure to take pictures of everything and send it in for our Saturday live stream. We'd love to see all of your different prints. If you're having issues with your prints as well, send those in and we'll help you troubleshoot them as well. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thank you.